Hello and welcome once again to The Blueprints. This is Canada's Conservative Podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Schmale, Member of Parliament for Haliburton, Kawartha Lakes, with new content for you every single Tuesday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this program, because on today's show, we are talking about the media's wonder about how Canada got poorer than the state of Alabama. Also, the Canadian military is changing up the way it recruits its soldiers. To talk about this and so much more, we bring on Brad Redekop, the Member of Parliament for Saskatoon West. Thanks for coming on the show.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here.
Good to have you on again.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
It's been a while, yeah.
All right.
Lots to talk about.
So much to talk about. Immigration in general, I think we're going to take a focus on that in this part of the show, but something that came up a few days ago that just gave me a bit of a crying moment, but also a chuckle at the same time. Let's put up the first graphic here. The Globe and Mail, Canada's national newspaper here, little perplexed about how Canada got poorer than the state of Alabama. They just can't figure it out, but I don't know what it is. I can't imagine what happened in the last 10 years.
Yeah, can you say liberal government?
Yeah, it's the liberal policy. So the same people that are in charge now made this happen. The same ministers, if you look at their front bench, it's the same crew, made this happen. So the media can't seem to connect the dots.
And somehow it's going to be different this time? I don't understand
it's
that.
going to be way different this time. I don't know where or how, but some way it's going to be different. And you know what? If they don't figure it out, they're going to ask for more time, more patience, and more money until they can figure it out, all the super smart people in Ottawa.
Yeah.
Unreal. I couldn't believe, I saw that. It was circulating on social media, and of course the comments got ratioed, right?
Absolutely.
Like, the comments were like, we could probably point a map. We could probably draw a map, and still the media would cover and talk it away for the
It's the unfair world we live in, that's for sure.
Unbelievable. Wow. Yeah, I can guarantee you, if Canada was poorer than the state of Alabama when Stephen Harper was in charge, or even now with Pierre Poilievre in charge, the media would not be talking this away.
No.
It would be end of times conversation.
It'd be the lead story.
Oh yeah, you'd see all the panel heads, the liberal, not one conservative on these media talking,
of course,
talk shows, but whatever. All just, how this is awful. This is end of times. People are going to the food bank in the millions and can't afford homes for the young people.
Don't mess around with the facts.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I need to get that off my chest.
Take a breath.
Take a breath. All right. So we're going into a bit of immigration conversation that we've been having the last few days. Let's cut one. We're going to start with the way the Canadian military is going to look at new ways to recruit soldiers. So we have the immigration minister making this announcement. It's about 60 seconds. Might tug on the attention span because this minister is a tough one to listen to. Play cut one.
And finally, we are creating a new category for skilled military recruits to attract highly skilled foreign military applicants. Eligible recruits with a job offer from the Canadian Armed Forces, including doctors, nurses, pilots, can be invited to apply for permanent residence. They will be subject to the same security and all military requirements. This new category will support our government's commitment to strengthen our armed forces, to defend our sovereignty, and to keep Canadians safe. This category and other priority categories supports Canada's defense industrial strategy, which Prime Minister Carney announced yesterday, by adding a range of workers critical to support our sovereignty and security.
There are some countries that do this already, right? Some, not all, but some countries do this already. So we're inviting in more military-aged men to join the ranks of Canada's armed forces because we can't seem to recruit soldiers. I think that should be the line itself. Why can't the Canadian Armed Forces make their recruitment targets in this current environment?
Well, we used to be able to do it.
Yeah.
We used to have, there were more than enough recruits in Canada that wanted to join the military, all the different forces that we have. And again, after 10 years of Liberals, that's not the case anymore. The military is messed up in such a way that it takes forever for a recruit to actually go through the recruitment process. And so guess what? They're not sticking around. They're going and getting a job somewhere else. And so now we've given up on Canadians. We're going to try to find people from other countries to fill our recruitment positions, I think it's embarrassing, quite frankly.
I think it's also challenging for those young people that are considering their options in life, right? They're laying out their life, where they want to go, and the Liberals have just botched the military procurement process, just botched it. We can't seem to get anything new. So we are not even flying with the latest technology. We're not sailing with the latest technology. We're not in the trenches with the latest technology. And it's just so outdated. It just becomes, unfortunately, which many proud soldiers have served this country. Many still do and are doing. But in terms of hitting their recruitment targets, the government can't seem to do it, because the incentives, to me, just don't seem to be there.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting, Jamie, when I was in school, the F-18 fighter jet was like the newest thing, right? Now, sadly, that was a long time ago for me, right?
I didn't want to say it, but yeah.
And yet it still is. It still is the state of the art, and we're just barely getting a few new planes, and yet they want to cancel that contract. So it's no wonder recruits don't want to work for the military.
Yeah, so now we have to look elsewhere to bolster our ranks. It was the civil service. There was talk for a while of letting all the bureaucrats defend us. So that was interesting. And so at the same time, they're also taking away firearms from law-abiding, citizens.
Right.
That's I don't want to go down that. See, you're getting me all riled up today.
Okay, taking over the rest.
All right, so we have another issue with healthcare for asylum seekers. All right, throw up a few graphics here, give you an idea. So we're now spending about $1 billion a year. So we're $78 billion in the hole, 70 billion, 72, somewhere in there. What's a billion or two? Yeah. So $1 billion on healthcare costs of refugee claimants. So flip to the next slide here. And then, so about 500,000 people. So that's quite a large number.
Yeah.
You're on the immigration committee. Tell us what this means.
So first of all, if you claim asylum, so what we typically think of as refugees, you claim asylum, I don't want to go back to my host country, my home country, I want to stay in Canada. Right away, immediately, you are given many things, including a work permit, but one of the things you're given is healthcare. And that healthcare actually is better than ordinary Canadians receive. It includes things like vision care, glasses, contact lenses. It includes hearing aids. It includes physiotherapy. Like, there's many, many things in that are called supplemental health benefits that asylum seekers receive. Now, we're not against them receiving medical care when they need it. So there should be like a basic level of medical care that people receive. But the problem we have, or I have with this, is the extra supplemental benefits that they're getting, which is better than what Canadians get, and it doesn't seem fair.
And so the government just willingly pays this, it looks like.
Yeah.
So up to $1 billion a year. And
not just that, it's $1 billion right now, but it's going to grow to $1.5 billion in a few years.
And why is that? Just with the backlog?
The increasing number of refugee claimants, yeah.
Wow, okay. So that's causing a problem. But there was a report not too long ago that, I can't remember how many hundreds of thousands of people have died in the emergency room in Canada waiting for care. So we have a structural problem, I think.
Well, we have 6 million Canadians that don't even have a family doctor. It can take 30 weeks to wait for a specialist on average in Canada. So we have issues in our healthcare system, there's no question. And offering these enhanced supplemental benefits just puts more of a drain on our system. And like I said, not ordinary Canadians don't even have access to that kind of coverage.
And I think the blame needs to be put on the government itself to allowing this to happen, to get here in the first place, and it continue to happen. And as you said, it's only going to get worse into the future.
That's right, absolutely. And the blame lies squarely at the feet of the Liberal government, because they are the ones that allowed the asylum system to explode in terms of numbers, first of all. And then they are the ones who decided to put these very generous benefits to tag along with that asylum system. And so guess what? When you build a system that's very attractive, has really good benefits, people want to take advantage of that system, and that's what's happened in Canada. And so we have a large number of people that are claiming asylum that shouldn't be, and that's a whole other story. We have that's what's driving the numbers of asylum seekers in Canada. Not legitimate people, but people that are trying to game the system.
So they see how generous Canada is. They sometimes falsify their application, and it kind of gets them that little ticket to get some added benefits that Canadians don't get, the Canadians who are paying the taxes.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing if somebody shows up on our border and says, I'm persecuted in my home country, I want to claim asylum here. That's a story that I think most of us can relate to, and if it's proven to be true, let them claim asylum here. But what's really a problem right now is when somebody comes to our country, they're here, maybe a student or some other kind of person who's a non-citizen, they're here for a year or 2 years, and all of a sudden something happens, like they get arrested for a crime, which can cause them to be deported. All of a sudden, they want to claim asylum 2 years later. That doesn't make any sense. And that's, I think, where the government, the Liberals, have let people game the system through methods like that to not only claim asylum and get the benefits of a healthcare system, but actually avoid prosecution of law and the ability to avoid going to court or being convicted of a crime or going to jail. So it's not right. And
we on the opposition have been trying to fix this as well. That if those that are not citizens are committing crimes, that perhaps they should be elsewhere, because we have crime happening everywhere. Like, the crime's going off the charts here. So clearly the revolving door justice system is a problem, but at the same time, we can't seem to hold anyone anyway.
Right. Well, there's actually a couple of problems there. One is that because there's a law that says if you're convicted of a crime with greater than 6 months sentence, you have to be deported. What judges are doing is they're saying, well, you should be, a normal Canadian would be charged with a year in this, or given a sentence of a year in this case. But because this person is a non-citizen and they could be deported, we're going to back that sentence off to less than 6 months just to be nice to them. And so we've created this two-tier sentencing system in Canada. So that's problem number one. And then problem number two is when somebody does need to be deported, we aren't deporting them. We just send them a letter saying you need to go home and assume that they go home. And of course, people don't go home. They stay here, they hide underground, and so they remain in the country. Yeah,
that's I can see that being frustrating for those Canadians that are following the letter of the law, doing everything, paying their taxes, everything possible to live a law-abiding life. And then all of a sudden there's two-tiered system. I can see how that would irk a few people. So.
And it also, you're very right about that. It also upsets immigrants who came here through the normal process, right? They went through all the right channels. They crossed all the T's, dotted all the I's, waited a long period of time, got their paperwork, and then they see someone else who just skirts the whole system by claiming asylum, and all of a sudden they have better benefits than they do. It's everybody dislikes that system.
Yeah, and it's the fault of the Liberal government for allowing this to happen. Absolutely. It's not the fault of the claimant. They're just doing what the rules allow them to do.
We didn't have this 10 years ago.
We did not have this 10 years ago. And also, extortion is on the rise. We've done a show about that a few episodes ago with a few members, but extortion is getting out of control in this country.
Sadly, yes.
And unfortunately, it's causing a lot of chaos in our streets. We have houses being shot up, business being shot up, caught on video, and this growing, just what is happening? Yeah. This growing feeling of unease.
Well, imagine being a business owner and receiving this cryptic letter saying you need to pay me $1 million or someone's going to be in trouble. We're going to shoot you up or whatever. And it seems unbelievable in a country like Canada that you would wake up in the morning and find that taped to your business door, but that's exactly what's happening. And there are shots being fired. There are people being injured and even killed. And people are being arrested. Surrey has a whole investigative unit that's focused on extortion investigations. And it's sadly become a really big problem in Canada.
There was an incident not too long ago in Vaughan, I believe, just north of Toronto, where people broke into a person's house who was there with his child, and he was executed in front of the child. There was another video, I believe, Vaughan or Richmond Hill, somewhere same area, and someone was executed, shot right on the street.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think in Surrey, I can't remember the exact number, but it was something like 35 or something like that incidents in the month of January this year alone of extortion charges that were laid by the police. And it's just a very troubling thing, and it's a big problem in Canada.
So we want to see equality in our justice system. We want to see it toughened up so it's not this revolving door justice system.
Right. And then those people who get charged, what do? They claim asylum.
Right.
And then they're free of their justice obligations again. So these problems interconnect with each other.
Right, and it just goes around and around, and we wonder why morale in some of our police agencies is going down, right?
Exactly.
And the frustration. And citizens too, because when you have an increase in crime, you have an increase in victims.
Yes.
And when it's a terrible feeling to be helpless in your own community.
Yeah.
Let's go cut. I think this is cut 3, maybe. This is Michelle Rempel-Garner, who is our critic for immigration. You sit with her on committee. We're talking in strengthening its immigration system, Canada's immigration system. Play cut 3.
Bill.
Mr. Speaker, hello, 15 years ago called and wants its immigration debate back. 15 years ago, the asylum system had less than 10,000 claims, thanks to our conservative government. What happened, Mr. Speaker?
Order. We do have a point of order. The honourable member for Winnipeg North on a point of order.
10,000. I believe it's closer to 60,000 back in 2012.
Not a point of order. That's debate. The honourable member resume her answer.
Liberals want to silence me, but again, I got this information right off their website. Do they not know how to use the Google machine? It was less than 10,000 when they took government. Today, it's almost 300,000 after the hashtag Welcome to Canada, every economic migrant in the United States. This is insane.
Same point.
First of all, isn't she doing an awesome job?
She's doing a fantastic job. Absolutely. And it's a tough file because there's so many moving parts to it, right? So many programs, so many avenues where they intersect, whether it's asylum, refugee, regular system, and everything in between, right? There's a lot of moving parts in this. But still, the point's the same. This wasn't a problem 10 years ago. What's happening now is the fault of the Liberal government. We did not say right at the beginning, how did this happen? It happens after 10 years.
Absolutely.
This is how it happened.
And she said hashtag welcome to Canada. That was Justin Trudeau's tweet that he gave in response to some crises that were happening in the world. And he basically said, you can't get into country X. Welcome to Canada. Come here. We want you to be here. And so guess what? People said, oh, hey, the government wants us in Canada. Let's go. And so they started flooding into Canada and we had limits in place that kind of got blown up, and then the government increased their limits, and more people came, and then we got into this asylum problem where we were talking about. So it's crazy. We had 10,000 people in the queue in asylum in 2015. Today there's 300,000.
Don't forget the student visa issue.
Yeah.
Tell us, can you go into that quickly?
If you add the whole number up, it's close to 3 million temporary residents that are in Canada right now, and that would include 3 million. So that would include temporary workers, students, refugee claimants, the whole group of people who are temporary in our country, and that works out to about 7% of our population. It was 7.4% at its peak about a year ago, and that's far too high, and that's causing crisis in housing. Yeah. It's causing a crisis in jobs. There aren't enough jobs for all those people. It's causing a crisis in healthcare. There's not enough healthcare for everybody, and that's driven by just uncontrolled growth, and particularly in the non-citizen temporary category.
And we, as a country, grew in immigration very quickly. In the span of a few years, I think it was 3 million, around 3 million, give or take, that came to Canada to call home, and it did cause a problem, right? The immigration, for the most part, in the past, up until 10 minutes ago, as in the Liberal government, it used to be a check on inflation, right? If there were more jobs than people, we upped the immigration rate. Right. When that was the other side, we brought it down a bit just to even it out. A check on inflation. Right now, all you're doing when there's more people than there are jobs to be filled, it presses wages down.
Absolutely.
And when we have price inflation, currency inflation, because of what the government is doing, it's bringing everything up, but the wages are going down or not moving up as fast as they should.
That's very true. And so we've allowed our economy to become dependent on temporary foreign workers, students, people that are in the country that need to work. And so guess what? There's a lot of unscrupulous employers that have taken advantage of them as well. I mean, there's lots of great employers that are doing really good work, and that's great. But there are, unfortunately, unscrupulous ones who take advantage of these people who are very vulnerable. They're not in a very strong position. They have to have money. They want to stay in Canada. And so they can be exploited, and that's a problem too. But it also has kept those wages down so that ordinary Canadians don't want those jobs because the wages are minimum wage jobs. And so I think there's cases where those wages do need to go up a little bit to allow people to be attracted to them.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, Brad, we're pretty much out of time. I did keep it a bit over, so I do apologize. As you may recall, the guests get the last word. So the floor is yours to close us out.
Well, in 10 years, the Liberals have messed up our immigration system royally. We see it in the cost of healthcare. We see it in the number of temporary workers and temporary people that are in our country. Even the normal, regular number of permanent residents that we admit has been a very high number. And so These have to get back under control. We need to employ our youth who are unemployed. We need to get our wages a little bit higher, and we need to trust that our Canadians, our youth, and our Canadian seniors, people who don't have jobs, trust that they actually can do the jobs that need to be done. And we need to rebuild our system and get it back to where it was 10 years ago when we had a great system that all Canadians were proud of.
Brad Redicott, Member of Parliament for Saskatoon West, thanks for coming on the show.
My
And
pleasure.
thank you for your time. Thank you for yours. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this program. You definitely are not getting this side of the story out in the mainstream media, so we need your help. Tell your friends to download it on platforms like CastBox, iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify. You name it, it is out there. New content for you every single Tuesday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, remember, low taxes, less governments, more freedom. That's the blueprint.